Hi you guys, welcome, välkomna, добро пожаловать. My name is Samantha Rogers and today is Friday and another True Crime Stories with Sal. I almost forgot my title. If you're new to my channel, I'm very happy and pleased to have you. Welcome to this little family of ours, True Crime Family. The more the better. And for my oldies and goodies that have been following me for quite a while, thank you for always support, love, nice comments. I so appreciate. A few episodes ago, I asked you guys if you like for me to cover a unsolved true crime story where I actually, tell the victim's true identity, show pictures or what have you. And a few of you guys were interested, so I decided I will do that once a month. So next video, next Friday, will be a true unsolved true crime story. I'm still thinking of if I should do something that happened a few years ago or something recent. So let me know if you have a unsolved story. Please do let me know in the comments. Okay, so for today's story, it's of course, always gruesome, crazy story. It's a roller coaster. So buckle up. Blood pressure will be raised today. Quick disclaimer, I will be talking about murder. I will be talking about dismemberment of a corpse. And I will be talking about domestic violence. So if that's any subjects that you might not want to hear right now, I totally understand. Please just, leave this on pause. Come back to it when you feel more stronger to listen to stories like this. And as always, I will not be mentioning the victim's true identity or the perpetrators. May change the names of the perpetrator and the victim, so to respect for their privacy and also the loved ones of the victims, because I'm sure as any of us, if that something tremendous like that would happen to our loved ones, I personally would not want people to just, talk about it like that. So with all due respect, you can always Google their names, because I will give out the town name, the year this has happened. So it's easy to just Google it. And if you want to find the actual identity of the people, you can do so. Okay, darling. So without further ado, let's jump right into the story. Okay, I just needed a little sip of my pumpkin spice. So today's story, buckle up. It's a pretty recent one. It actually only takes us back a year. So the date is 2020 and the month is September. And the place is New Hampshire here in the United States. And we're going to talk about a couple that I would call Mandy, who is 31, and Paul, who is 35, I believe. It was a little conflicted dates on his year or his age, but in their 30s. It's a couple in their 30s, Mandy and Paul. They also have 3 children. The oldest is 9-year-old and the youngest is almost a 1-year-old. Mandy and Paul's relationship is always been rocky and disturbing, to say it least. On the surface of the relationship, they look like a fun, happy, loving couple. You would never guess what was going on behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, Paul would viciously and very often abuse Mandy, both verbally and physically. And he would do so without any hesitations or regret in front of their 3 young children. And this abuse, according to what I could find, has been going on for a good few years. I don't really know if Mandy ever confided in her family about her life with her husband Paul. I don't know, but what we do know is that instead of leaving Paul, Mandy thought of a second best plan. You see, Mandy decided to start a relationship on the side with a coworker who I would call Robert. So Robert is 25-year-old co-worker of Mandy. They work together. And he's a very free-spirited. His favorite thing to do is go on long hikes. He often posts about his hiking adventures and often talks about that with his coworkers. He's very bubbly, outgoing, total opposite to Mandy's husband, Paul. This secret relationship between Robert and Mandy will be going on for a few months, and a few of the co-workers start to suspect that something is going on between Mandy and Robert. They're too friendly, too flirty. The only one that was completely in the dark was Mandy's husband, Paul. That is until the day of September 19th. This day was like a normal day. It was a Saturday. The family, all of them were gathered together. And I don't really know if this is a routine that Paul has. Usually abusers do that. They, always are paranoid, checking their spouse's phone. I don't know if this was something that, again, was a routine of Paul's, or that he just had a sneaking suspicion that something was going on behind his back. Either way, he grabbed Mandy's phone and started to go over her text messages. And soon he come to realize that Mandy has been having this secret affair with a man called Robert. And according to the text messages, he could kind of figure out that they're working together. And you guys can just guess the fury, the anger, the complete disrespect that Paul felt. And he went to a complete and utter rage. And this was a rage that Mandy never seen before. This was more violent and more aggressive. He beat Mandy up completely. He almost broke her nose. He chipped her tooth. He left her all swollen, bruised, and black and blue, basically, all over her face. At one point, he even put his gun in her mouth, threatened to shoot her, and then take the gun out, and then proceeded to strangle her to the point of her fainting. Just a reminder, all of the 3 kids were at home during this time, and this violent attack was witnessed by the couple's 9-year-old daughter. After that brutal attack, Paul then took Mandy's phone and proceeded to text Robert, pretending to be Mandy. He asked if he could meet him in a rural area, like a wooded, foresty area in New Hampshire, for a rendezvous. Robert didn't suspect anything. He really, truly believed that he was texting with Mandy and that she just wanted to meet him up for a quick rendezvous, what have you. So he got excited. He responded, "I'll be there shortly," and he left his house. Upon arriving at the location that Mandy texted Robert, he soon realized that this was all a setup. Robert really didn't have any time to react. Paul jumped up from behind and started viciously just beating, punching, kicking Robert all over his body. He fell to the ground and he continued to just viciously beat him. After the attack, Paul stepped away. He needed to clear his head, so he stepped away for a moment. And at that point, bruised and beaten up, bleeding Robert is laying there in pain, and he sees Mandy, and he asks her to help him, basically. He also sees that in the back seat, you could see in the back seat of Paul's car, there was a machete. And he pleaded with Mandy to grab that machete and just attack Paul when he comes back, because clearly he will kill them both. He would probably kill Robert first and then Mandy. But Mandy refused. She herself was also bloody, bruised from all that beating at home. And she said that if she punched him once, or if she hits him once with the machete, he's gonna survive, and he's gonna be even angrier and attack them even more viciously, and eventually probably kill both of them. When Paul returns back from his little walkabout, cleared his head, he decided then to grab the gun that he had with him, his own gun, and he demanded Mandy to shoot her lover. Mandy refused, and at this point, Paul then grabbed a knife and told Mandy, okay, if you're not going to shoot him, then I want you to cut his wrists. And Mandy said yes. Mandy proceeded to cut Robert's wrist, and after that, Paul then ordered her to stamp or stand on Robert's neck. And Mandy proceeded. She did as she was told. Like I said, this story is crazy, and I don't understand why she said no to just shoot him and, kind of like kill him, instead of kill him in a more painful way, and proceeded to cut his wrist, step on his neck. That way, he suffers more than instead of shooting him. Or shoot Paul, shoot Paul in the leg or whatever, wound him in the shoulder, grab Robert, drive away. She could still drive. She was not beaten that badly that she could not stand or drive. So at this point, I feel like Mandy had a few good choices she could have made, but instead she just chose to cut the wrists and step on Robert's neck. Miraculously, and of course unfortunately for Robert that had to endure all of this, he still was alive. And this infuriated Paul, so he grabbed the gun himself and proceeded to shoot Robert 3 times. I believe 2 times hit in his chest, in Robert's chest, and 1 bullet hit Robert in the head. And still, after being shot 3 times, Robert was still alive. At this point, Paul just got angrier and angrier that Robert is still alive. He grabbed Robert's almost lifeless body. At this point, he was literally hanging by a thread. He was moaning and coughing, and just, you could clearly see like he needed help ASAP or he will die soon. So Paul grabs Robert's body and he threw him in the back seat of his own car, of Robert's car. And he demands Mandy to drive with that car, with Robert inside or behind in the back seat, while Paul takes their truck that they came with, and they're gonna go to this another secluded wooded area. And this place is approximately 3 hours away from where they at right now. Mandy agreed, and they both set their journey, the 3-hour journey, car ride journey, with Robert, poor Robert, in the back seat, clinging to life. After about halfway, Mandy could no longer hear Robert moaning or breathing or coughing or what have you. He unfortunately passed away. And again, mind you guys, this was a 3-hour ride. Mandy had her cell phone. It was only her and wounded Robert in the back seat. She could easily just made a quick U-turn and drove off, or she could call the police. Paul was in a totally different vehicle ahead, in front of her. He had no idea if she called the police or not. Clearly she could, or yeah, she could do a U-turn and just turn around and drive to the nearest hospital to save Robert. But she did none of that. Instead, during that 3-hour ride, she was on the phone with Paul, who was driving the truck in front of Mandy. And the whole ride there, they were talking about how sorry He was so sorry for doing this to her, for beating her, and that, quote, he will forgive her as soon as the sun rises. Upon arriving to the second location, Paul then gets out of the car. He drags Robert's, at this point, lifeless body, drags him out, and he actually, again, demands Mandy to now cut off her lover's head with the machete that he had. And Mandy did so. She cut off Robert's head. After Mandy cut off Robert's head with the machete, Paul then told her that she needed now to come up with a story to basically tell her coworkers, her friends, that she is, either leaving him or going somewhere for a while to clear her head, and that she might not be returning to work, what have you, so people are not start asking or looking for her, that she just, needed a break from her marriage, and that she's just gonna go somewhere to think everything over for a while, and that she has a week to clean up this whole mess, to get rid of Robert's body, to get rid of the evidence, to get rid of Robert's car, what have you, and that he would leave her at the second location, this camping area, for a full week, and he would return on Friday. And mind you, this is Saturday. And as a good girl, Mandy did so. She buried Robert's body in a shallow grave. She covered his body with a tarp, and then she proceeded to burn all of his wallet. She destroyed his phone, so no one can trace the phone. I believe she also ruined her own phone after she made some calls to her work, to her colleagues, to her friends, or what have you, that she gonna be leaving town for a few. She basically destroyed all the evidence, like she was told by Paul. I forgot to mention that before Mandy destroyed Robert's phone, she also sent a text to Robert's family and friends saying that he will be going on a hike. And now we are at Monday. So Monday comes and no Robert. He doesn't show up to work. He's haven't contacted his family in 2 days. His mother starts getting worried, and she visits his apartment, and upon arriving to the apartment, she can see that all of his camping equipment, the camping gear, all of the camping boots, or what have you, what you normally take if you go on a 2, 3, 5-day hike, you would bring with you. And also his passport and all of, if he was about to travel, what have you, everything was still in place at home, and nothing was touched, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. So his mother, Robert's mother, became super worried. So she contacted the police. The police went to interview Robert's coworkers, friends, and upon interviewing the coworkers, some of the coworkers let the police know of the affair between Mandy and Robert. That they had the secret affair, and that they should definitely ask or interview Mandy. Maybe she knows something. And that's exactly what the police did. So detectives arrived at Mandy's house, and upon arriving, they come across Paul, Mandy's husband, and they ask him, "Hey, have you seen your wife?" And he basically explained to the police that my wife went on a camping trip or a hiking trip with some coworkers on Saturday, and he hasn't heard or seen her since then. So back to the camping spot or the camping ground where Mandy is at. On Tuesday, a few hunters come across Mandy and the camping site that she has at this random spot. And they know that it's actually forbidden to camp. So they kind of tell her, hey, I think you should move your camping gear, or you should camp somewhere else, because this is like a hunting area. It's a forbidden to camp here. If someone sees you, someone of authority, they can give you a ticket or what have you. But Mandy didn't seem to care. She didn't listen, and she just stayed there. for a few more days. Another group of hunters sees again Mandy and her weird camping site at the place that is clearly said do not camp here. And they honestly called the police right away. They didn't bother to talk to her. They just saw that this looks very shady. The woman also looked beaten. Mandy clearly had severe bruising in her face. She was blue. She was still bruised. So they called the authorities. Authorities arrives, and Mandy quickly just realizing that this is over. This is over for her. And her exact quote to the authorities: "I'm in big trouble." Mandy didn't hesitate to lie or stall. She just confessed to everything, to what they did, to what Paul did to her, that he lured that he lured Robert into the woods and beat him up, killed him, and then they drove over here to basically dispose of his body. Mandy was arrested and brought into custody. The next day, 2 agents went to arrest Paul, and they actually got there on time because he was just about to drive away together with his 9-year-old daughter, and they quickly arrest him. Unfortunately, again, in front of his daughter. She witnessed all of it. And according to Paul, he just told the police that he was going to talk privately with his daughter about him and Mandy divorcing. In custody, Mandy was charged with 3 counts of falsifying evidence, wherein she, buried or hidden the body, burned Richard's belongings to get rid of all of the evidence, while Paul, of course, got charged for murder, capital murder, and, of course, the abuse and beating of Mandy. Upon bail hearing for Mandy, Mandy's lawyer demanded for Mandy to come out because, of the kids that she have her 1-year-old daughter, and she has 2 other girls. And then also that she was in severe, control doing all of this. Her husband had control over her, and if she didn't comply to his demands, he would beat her or kill her. So she was severely scared of her husband, and that this is all of Paul's doing. So Mandy was just following orders to basically protect and save herself for the sake of her children. But the prosecutor didn't agree with that statement. Didn't agree with Mandy's lawyer's statement. He pointed out that Mandy, even though she was clearly during severe danger and pressure from her husband, but she also had moments where she was by herself with the victim, with Richard. Like I said, it was a 3-hour ride to the second location. It was just Richard and Mandy in the car, and Mandy even had her cell phone, which she didn't use to call authorities or call 911 for help or what have you. She called Paul, and they were on the phone instead, those 3 hours. And also during the walkabout, after he beat up Richard, Paul took a little walkabout to clear his head. And it was just Richard and Mandy. They both had the car keys. And even though Richard was badly beaten to the point he couldn't move fast enough, but he could still climb into the back seat, and Mandy could move. She could clearly drive off and save both of them that way. But again, she didn't. And due to all of those evidence, the judge decided not to bail Mandy out. So instead, she's still in custody. And as far as Paul, you guys can clearly guess it, he is not getting out anytime soon. He will definitely get life sentenced. But since this case, again, is pretty new, this happened last year in September 2020, it's still ongoing case, so the details are still pending. The devastating part is that poor Richard's family and friends are tremendously sad and, of course, grieving the loss of their friend, their brother, their son. He definitely didn't deserve this type of treatment. He definitely didn't deserve to die. And all of this could easily be prevented. My heart goes out to loved ones, his family, his friends. I'm so sorry for their loss. And I hope that they can find peace and love and forgiveness in the near future. And my heart also goes out to Mandy and Paul's 3 children. I believe they have 3 girls. I'm not sure, but I know that the oldest is a girl and the middle child is a girl. The youngest, the 1-year-old, could be a girl or boy, but either way, they have 3 young, small children, and especially the 9-year-old, like that, she saw her father viciously attack her mother and then her father getting arrested. Like, that's gonna cause a life trauma. Yeah, what can we take away? What can we learn? The whole thing is tragic. The whole thing. From Mandy being abused to Richard dying this horrific death. He definitely didn't deserve it. No one deserves it. I mean, people make mistakes, people cheat, but no one deserves to die over it, This could easily be solved. And also, like, the innocent 3 children who are now scarred, but this definitely gonna leave a scar for the 9-year-old daughter, 100%. And it's just like, I understand that people have their issues between each other, but when you have kids, like, you know better. Like, why would you bring a life into this world if you know that you cannot even take care of yourself? Like, don't be selfish. Don't think that kids can solve your problems, And, don't bring kids into this messed up world that you're living in. Children learn from their parents. They're sponges. They see what's going on. And no wonder we as an adults now are so broken and depressed, because it all starts from your home. So, I don't want to go into deep. I could talk about this for hours, because clearly this is a very tragic and sad topic, and it's something that I care for a lot. But yeah, but just try to do better and try to think better. And if you have children, they're innocent. They're not chose to come to this world. You chose to have them. Please set better examples. It all starts with loving yourself first. You know your boundaries, you love yourself, you respect yourself enough to not put yourself in situations and with people such as Paul. Okay, my loves, I hope you guys enjoyed today's story. And like I said, if you have, next week I will do a unsolved true crime. If you have an unsolved true crime in mind, please let me know in the comments below. I'm still figuring out what I should do, if I should do a recent one unsolved or something that happened a few years or decades ago, like a cold case. As always, if you choose leave comments, please be respectful. You never know who's reading, who's watching. We have so much hate and disgust in the world as is. We don't need to bring it over here, okay? I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. And if you know someone that knows someone that knows someone that loves true crime, please send them my way. My channel is still pretty small, so the more love, the better. Again, I love to do these stories. I'm very passionate about it. And I love you guys love them as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I see you guys in my next story, my next Friday. See you guys next Friday. Ciao, cacao.